Dr. Lara here. I hope you're doing well today. So on my walk today, I always ask what's for the highest and best good for all to hear. And sometimes I get it right away and sometimes I walk for a while. So I was walking and I saw a couple dragonflies. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice, just kind of looking at them and observing them. And then I saw a couple more, and then I saw a couple more. And then they would like fly in front of me and just kind of stay in front of me. And they're like, Lara, this is your message. I'm like, oh, I got to pay attention. So dragonflies represent change, represent transformation. And we are in the midst of a huge change globally, not just energetically, but seasons wise. Okay, so the title that came in was how well are you weathering the change? And I was like, oh, how clever is that? So going into that, I was talking to my daughter this morning, and she was, kind of in a funk because everything has changed for her. Her school has changed, her friends have changed, her method of learning has changed, the family situation has changed. And she said nothing is familiar, and she was just feeling, it wasn't so much anxiety, but it was just kind of like glum. And so I realized with that is grief, because when we're in the midst of change, we realize that everything that was familiar, you can't go back to that. And it's a loss, whether you think the change is for the better or you don't think it's for the better. You are going through a loss because you are changing and everything that's familiar is falling away. And on this walk, I go over a bridge because there's a little stream. And I thought, wow, that's where a lot of people are right now. We're on the bridge. So we can't go back to the way things were. And we're not quite where we're going yet. We're in the middle of the bridge. And that is scary sometimes because nothing's familiar. We don't know what's going to be coming into our lives. And it's scary. So I'm just saying, how well can we weather this change? So when we go through these changes, there's a lot of grief, there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of self-doubt, right? But when we can look at change as something that's inevitable and part of life, it can help us surrender to the process a little bit more. And I think the biggest thing too is to not judge ourselves for feeling the way that we do, to not judge ourselves for feeling sad or scared or worried. It's just to honor that and to become aware of that. And that's why self-awareness is so important, because when we are aware of what's happening around us, of what's happening inside of us, our emotions, our thoughts, our beliefs, our perceptions, then we can better understand, because the mind always wants to understand things, right? And there's balance. There's a balance of trying to understand things, and then the balance of surrendering to it and just letting it be what it is. So when you can just be in the moment and feel what you're feeling, acknowledge what you're going through, then you can surrender to that moment and you can pass through that. It's when we fight it, when we get angry at it, that it perpetuates it, and we go through it a lot harder. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But the way that we get through it, that's how we get to choose how we're going to get through it. Are we going to fight it? Or are we going to surrender to it? So I hope that helps. I know that there's a lot going on the planet right now, a lot going on within us, and that's just the way things are. So I hope you weather the change very well. Many blessings.